In all ages, it has pleased God to pre-announce certain things he proposed to do. Those announcements are termed prophecies. All prophecy is history pre-written, and it is as credible as any word. God has spoken, 2 Timothy 3:16, while prophecy is found in almost every book of the Bible. 16 books of the Old Testament and 1 book of the New Testament are wholly prophetic in character. In all, nearly 1/4 of the Bible was predictive when it was written. A portion of favorable prediction has now been fulfilled, and it should be noted, in every case its fulfillment has been literal or precisely as predicted. It is reasonably concluded, therefore, that all remaining prophecy will be as literally fulfilled. It is probable that, to some degree, prophecy has been divinely sealed, Daniel 12:9, until the end of the age, and it is therefore significant that, to this portion of the Scriptures, so much study is now being given with gratifying results. However, throughout its history, the Protestant Church has retained in a large measure the Roman Catholic assumption that the Church is the kingdom and is therefore reappointed to conquer and govern the earth. A right understanding of prophecy is demanded if Testament is rightly to divide the word of truth and to discern his own place and divine appointments in the world. While it is not difficult to believe the record of events given in the Bible which have already taken place, it is a test upon faith to believe the record of events which are yet future and known only through prophecies of the Bible. A consistent interpretation of prophecy requires that all words such as Israel, Zion, kingdom, and church shall be given their natural and obvious meaning, and that no place shall be allowed for the supposition that there are various and equally acceptable ways of interpreting the Scriptures. The Bible lends itself to but one program of events, and to this program all Scripture is in perfect accord. While men may earnestly contend for the post or the non, or the pre-millenarian interpretation, Butone of these could be according to truth. It is evident that all Bible interpretation will be incomplete without the knowledge of prophecy, and it is equally true that the right understanding of the New Testament is wholly dependent upon the right understanding of Old Testament prediction. The Apostle Paul stated regarding himself that he could gain the enviable title of a good minister of Jesus Christ, 1 Timothy 4:6, only as he in all faithfulness but his hearers, in remembrance of things which were yet future, 1 Timothy 4:1-5. The prophet was God's representative to man, as the priest was man's representative to God. There is a beautiful order in the fact that he was first called the man of God, then the seer, and finally the prophet, 1 Samuel 9:8-9. There were many false prophets who uttered only their own messages. The true prophets of God were moved borne along by the Spirit of God, 1 Peter 1:21. Though none of them were called upon to write their predictions, all true prophets were patriots and reformers, and it is noticeable that their ministry was exercised at such times as the nation Israel, to whom they spoke, was drifting away from God. While the study of prophecy is as inexhaustible as the Scriptures themselves, there are certain major themes of prophecy in both the Old and the New Testaments. The major themes of prophecy in the Old Testament are concerning the general Old Testament prophecy relative to the Gentiles, begins with the allotment of the portion of the sons of Noah, Genesis 9:25-27, which prediction has been fulfilled to the present hour. Another extensive identification of the Old Testament concerns the judgments of God upon the nations surrounding Israel, Babylon, and Chaldea, Isaiah 13:1-22, Isaiah 14:18-27, Jeremiah 50:1, Jeremiah 51:64, Moab, Isaiah 15:1-9, Isaiah 16:1-14, Jeremiah 48:1-4, Damascus, Isaiah 17:1-14, Jeremiah 49:23-27, Egypt, Isaiah 19:1-25, Jeremiah 46:2-28, Philistia and Tyre, Isaiah 23:1-18, Jeremiah 47:1-7, Edom, Jeremiah 49:7-22, Ammon, Jeremiah 49:1-6, Elam, Jeremiah 49:30-39, which likewise have largely been fulfilled. See also Amos 1:1-15. Additional Gentile prophecy is recorded in the Old Testament as to world-ruling monarchies and their authority during the times of the Gentiles, Luke 21:24. This succession of governments was revealed to Daniel 37-45. Daniel 7:1-14 and subsequent history has proven these kingdoms to have been Babylon, Media, Persia, Greece, and Rome. Old Testament prophecy also anticipates the final judgment Of the Gentile nations, Joel 3:2-16, Zephaniah 3:8. However, Old Testament prophecy gives assurance that the Gentiles will come into great blessing in the kingdom age. Isaiah 11:10, Isaiah 40:1, 6, Isaiah 49:6, 22, Isaiah 60:3, Isaiah 60:2. 2. Concerning Israel's early history. This group of predicted events, which began with Abraham, covers Israel's life both in the land and in bondage, and the detailed predictions are found in the Pentateuch and the books of history. All of these prophecies have been fulfilled, and in the most literal manner. Some of these predictions are: A. Israel's Egyptian bondage and release, Genesis 15:13, 14. B. The character and destiny of Jacob's sons, Genesis 49:1-28. C. Israel in the land following the Egyptian bondage, Deuteronomy 26-30, Deuteronomy 31 minutes and 14 seconds to 23. D. Israel's three dispossessions of the land, Genesis 15:1314, 16, Jeremiah 25:11, 12, Deuteronomy 28:60-67. See also Psalm 106:1-48, Deuteronomy 30:1-3, Leviticus 26:3-46, Nehemiah 1:8, Jeremiah 9:16, Jeremiah 18:15-17, Ezekiel 12:14, 15, Ezekiel 20:23, Ezekiel 20:15, James 1:1, **3, concerning the nation Israel. Beginning with the Abrahamic covenant, Genesis 12:1, 2-4, Genesis 13:14-17, Genesis 15:1-7, Genesis 17:1-8, and continuing through the Old Testament, there is prediction concerning the chosen earthly people of God. Totham has been promised a national entity, Jeremiah 31:36, a land, Genesis 13:15, a throne, 2 Samuel 7:16, Psalm 89:36, a king, Jeremiah 33:21, and a kingdom, Daniel 7:14. All of these divine blessings are endless in their duration. Yet reservation is made whereby these blessings may be interrupted, as a chastisement upon the nation, but never can they be abrogated. The importance of the chosen people and the reckoning of God and the extent of the scriptures, bearing upon their past, present, and future, is disclosed when it is seen that all scripture from Genesis 12:1 to the end of Malachi relates to them directly or indirectly. As to their future, this people will, according to prophecy, take the leading place among all the peoples of the earth, planted forever upon their own land under the gracious reign of David's greater son sitting on David's throne. *IV, concerning the last dispersion and regathering of Israel by the Assyrian captivity of the northern kingdom and the Babylonian captivity of the southern kingdom, and as a national punishment for sin, the whole house of Israel was taken from off the land and in due time was scattered among the nations of the earth. This was in fulfillment of multiplied prophecies, Leviticus 26:32-39, Deuteronomy 28:63-68, Psalm 40:2-11, Nehemiah 1:8, Jeremiah 9:16, Jeremiah 18:15-17, Ezekiel 12:14, 15, Ezekiel 20:23, Ezekiel 20:15, James 1:1. In no case would Israel's national entity be lost even through centuries of dispersion. Jeremiah 31:36, Matthew 24:34. They refused the divine offer and provision for their regathering in kingdom glory which was made by their Messiah at his first advent, Matthew 23:37-39, and as at Kadesh Barnea, where their wilderness experience was extended, Numbers 14:1-45. Their chastisement was continued and will be continued until he comes again. At that time he will regather his people into their own land and cause them to enter into the glory and blessedness of every covenant promise of Jehovah concerning them, Deuteronomy 30:1-10, Isaiah 11:11, 12, Jeremiah 23:3-8, Ezekiel 37:21-25, Matthew 20:31, *V, concerning the advent of Messiah. For 1 Peter 1:10, 11. It is clear that the prophets of the Old Testament were unable to distinguish two advents of the Messiah. So perfectly was the present age a secret in the counsels of God that told prophets these events which were fulfilled at his first coming, and those which are yet to be fulfilled at his second coming were in no way separated as told time of their fulfillment. Isaiah 61:1, 2 is an illustration of this. When reading this passage in the synagogue of Capernaum, Christ ceased abruptly when he had concluded the record of those features, which were predicted for his first advent. Luke 4:18-21, making no mention of the remaining features which are to be fulfilled when he comes again. In like manner, the angel Gabriel, when anticipating the ministry of Christ, combined as in one undertakings which belong to both the first and the second advents. Luke 1:31-33, according to Old Testament prophecy, Christ was to come both as a sacrificial, unresisting lamb, Isaiah 53:1-12, and as the conquering and glorious lion of the tribe of Judah, Isaiah 11:1-12, Jeremiah 23:5-6, considering these two extensive lines of prediction. There is little wonder that there was perplexity in the minds of the Old Testament prophets as to the manner of time when all this would be fulfilled. 1 Peter 1:10-11. Prophecy stipulated that the Messiah must be of the tribe of Judah, Genesis 49:10, of the house of David, Isaiah 11:1, Jeremiah 33:21, born of a virgin, Isaiah 7:14, in Bethlehem of Judea, Micah 5:2, that he must die a sacrificial death, Isaiah 53:1-12, by crucifixion, Psalm 22:1-21, rise again from dead, Psalm 16:8-11, and come to earth the second time, Deuteronomy 30:3, on the clouds of heaven, Daniel 7:13. Jesus of Nazareth has fulfilled, and will fulfill, every requirement of prophecy concerning the Messiah, as no other claimant can ever do. 6. Concerning the tribulation, closely related to the present age-long chastisement of Israel, Old Testament prophecy anticipates a time of unprecedented tribulation in the earth. Deuteronomy 29:30, Psalm 5, Isaiah 20:16-20, Jeremiah 30:4-7, Daniel 12:1. Though this line of prediction is greatly enlarged in the New Testament, the Old Testament prophecy indicates the one essential feature of this period. It is said to be the time of Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30:4-7, and comes to that nation as the consummation of their suffering, at the hand of Jehovah for their sins. 7. Concerning the Messianic kingdom and the day of the Lord. In respect to the amount of the scriptures involved, there is no theme of Old Testament prophesy comparable with that of the Messianic kingdom. Lying beyond all the predicted chastisements that are ready to fall on Israel is the glory, which will be theirs when regathered into their own land, with unmeasured spiritual blessings under the glorious reign of their Messiah King. This vision was given to all the prophets, and as certainly and literally as Israel, in fulfillment of prophecy, was removed from the land and caused to suffer during these many centuries, so certainly and literally will she be restored to marvelous blessings in a redeemed and glorified earth. Isaiah 11:1-16, Isaiah 12:1-6, Isaiah 20:22 to Isaiah 27:13, Isaiah 35:1-10, Isaiah 50:12, Isaiah 50:1 to Isaiah 55:13, Isaiah 59:20 to Isaiah 66:24, Jeremiah 23:3-8, Jeremiah 31:1-40, Jeremiah 30:37-41, Jeremiah 33:1-26, Ezekiel 30:11-31, Ezekiel 36:32-38, Ezekiel 37:1-28, Ezekiel 40:1-48-35, Daniel 44:45, Daniel 7:14, Hosea 3:4-5, Hosea 13:9 to Hosea 14:9, Joel 28 to Joel 3:21, Amos 9:11-15, Zephaniah 3:14-20, Zechariah 8:1-23, Zechariah 14:9-21. Closing parenthesis. Old Testament predictions concerning the kingdom are often a part of the predictions concerning the return of the king, and when these two themes are combined into one, it is termed the day of the Lord, which phrase refers to that lengthened period extending from the second coming of Christ and the accompanying judgments in the earth to the end of his millennial reign. Isaiah 10:22, Zechariah 14:1-21. Because of the fact that none of the great prophecies were fulfilled in the days covered by the Old Testament, that portion of the Bible is in itself incomplete and therefore to that extent disappointing. By the second coming of Christ, who is the fulfiller of her prophecies, Matthew 5:17, the consolation of Israel is to be realized. Luke 25.